It's nice to know the people on our planet that are going out of their way to help others, especially those in the critical cases of fire, police, EMTs, and they can make your back feel a lot better too. She's connected to all of them, everybody. Stay tuned. Well, we're going to have a good time here talking about, and the laughter you heard there was because Dr. Amanda Scipho, I said it right without even looking at it, is married to a firefighter.
Yep.
How long have you guys been married now?
We've been married 5.5 years.
5.5 years, and how long have you known each other?
We've known each other, actually we met when I was in chiropractic school.
Okay.
So, yep, 10-ish years now.
And so it's something, obviously, with what he does, saving lives. This is where this show became really interesting to me because most people know, put on the hat on early again, everybody. Maybe I should let you look at that. See that scar? That goes around to right there. I was hit by a drunk driver, was in a coma as a result. But these doctors saved my life. These experts saved my life. The firemen, the EMTs saved my life, pulled me out of a car. They were about ready to head to the hospital with the drunk driver that had hit us. We were in college, come back from a soccer game at Central Methodist University and played Missouri Baptist. Back to St. Louis. They were going to go visit their buddies. I was going to go meet the gal I'd been dating. She was coming down from Bradley. And I didn't show up. But I didn't show up because this drunk driver spinning out of control hit us, caused a major collision. Sadly, Jimmy Barnes, his head swelled back then. They didn't do the things they can do now to relieve the swelling. He passed away 6 days later. I was in a coma for 6 days. But at the scene of the accident, there were some experts. The firehouse in Eureka, Highway 109, they came out of that firehouse, which happened to be about a quarter mile away, half mile away from where the accident happened, pulled the drunk driver out who had hit us because I started having seizures as they were pulling away. I recently talked to my mom. I thought she heard about it and then drove and met him at the hospital with my dad. They said, no, we got a call and found out where you were still at the scene of the accident. We were there watching this while you went into having seizures. I'm like, oh my God, my mom watched me have these seizures. Started having seizures, pulled me out, pulled the drunk driver out that hit us because they're just getting everybody in there as fast as they can. Put me in. If I hadn't made that first trip, I would not be here today. Your husband and people like yourself who go out of your way to help those people who do save lives. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
First time I've ever talked about that in any kind of depth with regard to the specifics. I'm lucky to be alive. That's why I'm a strong advocate for our EMT, police, fire, and all those related. And I like the fact that you help so many people in your case, and especially take time out and specific services you offer at a major discount for people that are related to that too. So
yeah, definitely.
Talked about that at the first show. All right, so we want to go back because we were covering a lot here. Amanda makes copious notes.
I do.
We've got 17 pages of not quite, but we got to where you did talk about some of the basic services and where they start.
Yes.
I'm looking at your notes here.
Yep.
And they're on the screen because we do that on our big screen. It goes this way, and instead of wide, it's this way. I turn a monitor. You can do that with a Windows computer. I'll show you. I'll explain it to you sometime if you want to know. But so for that first adjusting was 108. Follow-up adjustment. Talk to me. Give me more details about how your treatment plan, how you bill for that, how you make a living because you deserve to get paid for the work that you're doing, and how people compensate you for changing their lives.
Yeah. So I don't work with insurance, but my patients, I offer them a super bill if they want to submit their own claims to insurance. That way they can get reimbursement. But my prices are pretty manageable. So my first visit is $108. That's the adjustment, exam, consultation. Follow-up visits are only $48. So I think it's a pretty good deal if you have like a one-time-a-week treatment plan for 6 weeks. $350, you're good to go. Generally, depending on your complaint. But if that's a generalized statement, mild injury, you're going to be significantly better in about 6 weeks. So if you compare that to getting a corticosteroid injection, those range from $100 to $500, depending on your insurance coverage, and they're going to last between 1 to 6 weeks. And they're tricky because you can't get too many of them or they start to erode your joints. So that's not a therapy that you can do over and over and over again, where you actually cause more damage to your joint. Nerve ablations, they cost somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000. And to get long-term relief, it's something you have to do more than once generally. So it's not going to be a one and done treatment. You generally, in my dad's case, he gets a nerve ablation all the time.
What is that? Oh, nerve ablation.
So it's radio frequency ablation. It's kind of like burning the nerve endings, so that way you don't have the same sensation that you had.
Yeah, a cut. I do have a. Tell me if this is related. When I was in the accident, my jaw was broken. And there's a nerve, a lot of people don't know this, that comes through your jaw, and there's little holes in your jaw, not like somebody drilled them, but God made them that way.
Yeah.
And the nerve comes through there, right?
Yep.
It serves that part of your face. So every time I think about it, which I'm thinking about right now, I notice the numbness right here.
Yeah.
Because the nerve was severed a little bit. Now, it doesn't cause me pain because I guess the way it got severed, it's not always getting it, whatever causes that,
the stimulation.
Okay. But in your case, you're saying many times there are nerves that like, the fray has come off and it's just constantly getting stimulation and it causes pain. And this is treating that.
Yeah, so nerve ablations can treat things like that. So peripheral symptoms generally, if you have pain going into the arms or legs or something like that. And then if you think about the cost of a surgery, like a back surgery, that can be anywhere between $20,000 to $100,000, obviously depending on your insurance coverage. But in my opinion, if you're able to manage your complaint for $350 spread over 6 weeks, as opposed to a $20,000 surgery that may or may not actually help your complaint, to me, it's a really obvious choice of try wellness care. If it doesn't work for you, I refer out. If it's not appropriate for your case, I refer to the right physician for you.
And so when you say complaint, you mean like the injury, the sustainable damage that you want to treat.
Right.
Because if you say complaint, I'm like, who's complaining about it? but you're saying, is your complaint, is your feedback with regard to like, here's the problem and you're going to treat that.
Right, yep.
And so then you've got a number, I would say definitely work. I mean, how often should people at least try this before they go? Because we get into surgeries like that, you can cause a lot of damage. They talk about it. My dad was considering a surgery that might help him with, he had all kinds of things happen after his stroke. And they said it's too risky for him to even have that kind of a surgery, so they wouldn't do it at his age. So I can imagine if it's risky for a 78-year-old, it's still risky for a 50-year-old.
Right.
And so take some less risky, lower the risk by doing some other treatments that at least, and it costs quite a bit less, that might fix the problem and might even solve the problem more readily. Is that true?
Right, yeah. And, a lot of times conservative care does have to come before surgery, but that's not a guarantee. So sometimes patients get straight-lined into a surgery where conservative care may have been beneficial.
Okay, so explain that. You said conservative care. Are we talking politics here? No, we're talking
No.
You're talking about...
No, conservative...
What does that mean?
It means non-invasive, non-surgical, non-pharmacogenic care. So chiropractic, acupuncture, physical therapy, things of that nature. So.
Okay, so yeah, less invasive things that are going to be potentially destructive because you're cutting into the body, making incisions, pulling out nerves or arteries or muscles or whatever it might be in the way. And, okay, yeah, that invasive stuff can be. I've been through a few of those myself. I mean, talk about the details, but they made an incision through my forehead to make the scar look more like a wrinkle instead of a...
Oh, wow.
And so does it look better, everybody? I can't. Let me see. Does it look better? I don't know. There's that. Get a little hot with my hat on here, but yeah. I mean, those are. But it was. I had to be put under for that. At the same time, the doctor. My dad knew the doctor personally, and he said, I looked at him. I said, I had a mole on my chest from I got bit by a jellyfish in the ocean.
Oh wow!
I knew what had happened. It bit and it made a little mole right next to my male's. It's still considered a nipple, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so, and so it looked weird because I had the mole. Anyway, they go. I looked at him. I said, "Hey, by the way, can you take this off while I'm under?" He looked at it. He goes, "Looks like it's non-malignant." Then I woke up. It was gone. But the point there was that like they had to go through that robust being under regard, not conscious. What do they call the guys? Anesthesiologist was there. Those are big, heavy-duty things, and anytime you go underneath anesthesia, there's that very slight chance, but it's but a lot less invasive, a lot less costly, and potentially more effective. At least it's something to start with. Is that? And you're saying, and other times, try that, and if it doesn't work, then come to you for this as an option. Either way.
Right. Yeah, I think it's always good to start with the less invasive things, and if it's not effective for whatever you present
off with the more simple thing first,
then you can go into those heavier hitters. But there always is a risk of anesthesia.
Okay.
So.
All right. We could talk 3 hours here, everybody. We're only 9 minutes into the second show, but I've got a lot more to cover here. And we talked a little bit. What would you say if there's one thing that separates you from? And I understand there's a number of chiropractors. St. Louis has they're plentiful because we have Logan where you went right here. So we're fortunate to have a great college that trains some of the best chiropractors in the country. But what would you say that really separates you? And I've already noticed a few things, but tell me what would you say?
The biggest thing I would say is the amount of time I spend face to face with a patient. Because like I've talked to you about, I don't have staff, so it's just me running my office. So I'm the front desk. I'm the doctor. I'm doing the treatment. I'm checking them out, taking payment, doing scheduling. So appointments generally are like at least 20 minutes. So that way we have time to go through everything together. I can talk through education, homework, everything I want them to be doing at home. So that way when they come back and see me again, we're going to be seeing some progress. Because if you think about, they come to me one day a week, maybe once every other week, what are they doing those other 7 to 14 days? Like in between, there's a lot that can happen. So I give everyone homework. I give everyone the education to take home and try to make modifications.
That's important. I realize that's a true benefit. It's not as if you're like, oh no, I've never done this before and I wanted to just save money. You've worked for the big offices and you just notice, I mean, there's a lot of overhead and I'm not going to name specifics, but I know offices and it's not a bad thing, but you talk to the front clerk person, which most of they have, and then you get like 2 minutes with the doctor.
Right.
But in your case, you're saying you spent 20 minutes. So that's valuable time. 20 minutes. That's 10 times the amount of time you may have with the doctor. But then I think that's important because you're really getting to get the ear, if you will, of an expert. Not when you say, "Hey, by the way," and they go, "Okay, I'll tell the doctor."
Right.
But what if we had a conversation about it right now? We can all save a lot of time too.
Well, and I would say I build really deep relationships with my patients, so they really come to trust me because of the amount of time we spend together and are able to go through their cases. So like we had talked about, most of my marketing technique is word of mouth referrals. My patients trust me. They send in their siblings, their parents, their friends, and that, it feels really good that they have that sort of relationship with me of trust.
That's what we're talking about, everybody. Everybody has something they do, even if they're in the same profession. That I'm not the only video guy in the world. I just have carved out my little niche, and it sounds like similarly, you're saying, hey, wow, how similar are we? Because you do answer the phones, you pick up the calls, you schedule the appointments. I've got a little help, but I do all the production and editing and everything. So it's literally, you can save a lot of money if you get good at that. That means obviously you've taken the time to learn all angles of that. And I guess working for other people gave you that opportunity, and now with the degree you've got an expertise and all the certifications she's got. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got one of the best experts in the country right here with some of the stuff she's mastered and got certifications and degrees. Right? Your degree from Logan is as a doctor of chiropractic.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes.
And you have to pass a board there too.
Actually, it's 4 parts of a board.
There we go, 4 parts. All right, that's what we like to see. Yeah. All right, when you get down to it, there's often a mistake made, and I enjoy this question with the roofing and the decking and the siding and those guys, but they're talking about the damage potential to a house. They're talking about the lack of the follow through, if you will, to people cut corners, etc. Here we're talking about somebody's health. This could be a lot more detrimental because if your roof's leaking, that's a discomforting thing. But if you can't walk, that's a much more difficult situation. What would you say is the biggest mistake that people make when they're trying to figure out their own health concerns?
As a patient, you mean?
Yeah.
I would say patients in general, they don't advocate for themselves. So when choosing your care team, it's important for a patient to realize they get to pick each and every one of their care providers. So if they're feeling like one doctor is not listening to them, they can pick someone else. They don't have to stay with that doctor and just blindly trust whatever they say. So that's the biggest thing that I think patients need to start doing, is choosing practitioners that listen to them, that have their best interest in heart, and that are going to advocate for their health and wellness. Because that's what's most important at the end of the day, is the patient's health and wellness.
Well, obviously that's important. That's what we're all looking for, and it's great to see you doing that. With that, we're going to share a little bit more of the fun we have had out in the community, everybody. Check out what we've got going on here, where we got to see some of the cruise in Lindbergh, everybody. Check it out.
Jason LeCavalier, I must say. Cruise in Lindbergh, there's the new logo.
Literally, all right, give me a flashback. What was your first time cruising Limburg?
I was 13, my cousin's 16, and we went up to Ronnie's, and he didn't have a nice car, but we were still out there, cleaned up, looking good. And I remember seeing so many beautiful cars, trucks, and motorcycles. It was just such a cool vibe, and now it's back, and it's exciting. I'm loving it.
All right. I know you don't like to talk about this, but it's back because of the efforts of one particular person. I would say you led the charge here. Is that fair to say?
I've been working hard at it for 4 years now, and I think we've arrived. We're back. We're back.
All right, so the Cardinal Cowboy made a call to my friend, Angela. I go, hey, I heard this thing's going on. I can look it up on Facebook. I know it's out there, but I'll make a call.
Give me the inside scoop.
She goes, weekends only, be here.
There you go. And this is where it's popping.
So we turned left. I was like, oh, I can get around this crowd and cut in. It's a two-lane. No, it wasn't. So we went down Limburg the other way. That took us way back.
Yeah, 20 minutes to get down Limburg.
Way back to the old school, from an old school. We went all the way down Limburg up to Limay, turned around, come back, just like we used to be back in the day. We're only about halfway through it. Go back out of here, go up to Ronnie's. How long is this thing going?
Until 9 o'clock.
How far down the strip do you go? Does it go all the way
From
up to
Ronnie's to Hooters.
Ronnie's the
3
Hooters?
mile little lap right there.
There it is. All right, Jason LeCobb. This guy's a legend.
Thanks for coming out today. I appreciate you,
Big
brother.
supporter of the Cardinal Cowboy.
Much love.
Been on Your Little Castle show. Hey, I forgot. We got a new thing. We take that interview and we cut it into clips.
All right.
Now we've got new AI clips. I'm going to give those to you. Remember, with Jason on for another half hour, just from what we're doing here today. Had to get him an intro and talk about it.
You're killing it on Airbnb now, aren't you? I love it.
Oh,
I love it.
By the way, if you need a consultant for Airbnb, we've learned a little bit. This guy's a master at that.
I just learned a lot through trial and error. It's not, it ain't easy, but we're doing it.
And this he hooked us up, told us what to do, and now this young lady
killing it.
Makes a living off of one place almost. So,
well, thank you guys for coming out today. Much love.
If you need any help with REI, real estate and investing, right here, Jason the Cowboy. All right,
like
Mike.
everybody winning.
That's your
That's the Boss Hog Cadillac.
All right, you know what I'm driving now?
There you go. You the Boss Hog?
I'm driving a Caddy.
Hey, you got the white outfit.
I got the outfit. I'm driving a Caddy.
There you go.
My storage shirt. My Lincoln Nautilus. They call me. They go, what's the problem with it?
His name is Carter Rethwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. Hey everybody, Cardinal Cowboy here. I want to invite all of you to be part of my new team. No, you don't have to put on a baseball uniform and be a super fan. Now, it would be a good idea to cheer for the Cardinals, the greatest team in the history of the National League. But I'm talking about the Gold Cowboy team. You know, I love to help people follow their dreams and reach their goals in business and in life. So that's one of the reasons why I'm telling you about my friends at My Metal Pro. They help people like you and I acquire gold and silver with a membership that lets you safely buy, sell, and store gold and silver. They make it real easy to get started. My Metal Pro isn't like the big guys you see on network TV or the big coin shops that take a huge commission. So become part of my Gold Cowboy team. Scan the QR code or go to goldcowboy.com and check it out. Giddy up! Well, and there we have it again, everybody. Learn about how to invest in your company, your family, not just with a chiropractor. Probably the most important thing here. But after you've earned a few extra bucks, put some money into something, a proven track record, gold. Look it up, all right? It's done amazingly well over history, and you can get more information at goldcowboy.com. It was interesting, I'll tell this real quickly. These guys approached me. A good friend of mine is their top distributor in the company. And he just says, Carter, we're helping a lot of people. We help people with the smaller investors who don't have millions of dollars. And I said, you know what's really interesting? I watch a lot of the other podcasts, TV shows, not necessarily TV shows, these podcast things kind of taken over. People say, Carter's got a podcast. I'm like, technically it's a podcast style, but it still airs on TV. We're on ABC 3 times a week right now. So but the point is, these podcast guys have gotten all these gold guys. They're like, oh yeah, go to this gold, go to that gold. Gold, gold, gold. By the way, if you have $10,000 or more, give us a call. What are they trying to say? If you don't have $10,000, don't call us.
Right.
These guys have figured out a way to fractionalize with computer technology. I'm a computer nerd, so I really appreciate that. Hey everybody, Cardinal Cowboy here. I want to invite all of you to be part of my new team. No, you don't have to put on a baseball uniform and be a super fan. That gold promo will help you understand what we're talking about. So get yourself some information. Go to goldcowboy.com. All right, finishing up here, we've got 7 minutes left. Tell us a time when you know you really helped somebody. I can only imagine as many clients, as many years you've been doing this. There's a lot of those stories, but you got one here noted. Tell me a little bit about that.
So I noted 2 specifically. One was a young mother who had 2 kiddos. She was diagnosed with a disc herniation at her primary care. And basically all he said was, you can't run anymore, don't try it, you're going to make it worse. And she was a runner. So that devastated her. That's what she did for her stress relief, for her mental health. And so then she came to me, no real expectations, because she didn't know what I did. But those first couple of weeks, we got pain under control. It centralized, so it came up, no longer in the legs. Now it's just in the low back. And then a few more weeks, she was running again. And that was one of the most exciting stories, just because it was one of those things that she needed to be able to do for herself, and we were able to get her back to doing that. So that was a really, really exciting one.
That's awesome. Tell me the other one. Well, I want to hear some good stuff.
The other one is a harder one. I had the opportunity to provide palliative care to a stage 4 cancer patient. And she actually just passed away 2 weeks ago. But I was using acupuncture, and that's well known in research to help curb those symptoms of chemo and cancer-related discomfort. So nausea, vomiting, trouble sleeping, anxiety. And so I was able to give her a little bit of comfort. And it was an honor to help her end her life a little bit more comfortably.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about, we haven't talked on this show, I don't think about it, but I have talked about, there's people, I was recently talking to somebody, and they said they went the alternative to that, which was assisted suicide. And in some states that's illegal, and I don't know where they've gone with that, but we remember the whole doctor that came across, I remember his name, I'm not going to say it, but wow, what a great alternative, because there's treatments one way or there's treatments the other way.
Yeah.
And most people, I guess they don't even talk about, hey, you're going to go through the chemo, that's just the way it is.
Right.
But wait a minute, there's
we
ways
can make
to
it a
ease
little better. Yeah.
some of that struggle, but, and nobody had ever mentioned that to me before, so that's really cool.
It's really cool, and there's a lot of good research on it, so definitely something to look into.
And you've got an expert here that can help you save yourself all the research, and do that if you need to, but call the doctor. She'll talk to you about it for free, I would assume, over a quick phone call and discuss some of the options there that are really cool. All right, well, I like to talk about it a little bit here. We've got about 4 minutes left with regard to, and I share this with everybody because, again, we're trying to help everyone. And if you would like to learn how to promote yourself, that is something that's most critical. I've kind of mastered that, some people say. Here, I get people calling me, how did you do this? How did you do that? We've documented many of those processes here. I wrote the foreword. I got a call yesterday during the Cardinal game, and I said, all right, we'll do an interview during the Cardinal game, which I did via Zoom, recorded it, blocked out my audio in the background by muting myself, and then did some editing during the game for promotion for a buddy of mine, Willie J, who wrote a book. He wrote this book, but he wrote a song to benefit and help those going through breast cancer. So check that out. Willie J, the guy Simon, he wrote this book. He used a lot of the strategies that I helped him to employ because he was one of my first guests on the Cowboy and Judge show. And then he did this with Steve Kidd, who I got to know now. But they asked me, Carter, will you write the foreword? And they said, Carter, essentially wrote the first chapter. It's supposed to be like an introduction. I said, well, I've got to set the stage here because it's like critical. If you don't do these things, you're going to be out of business. People are like, oh, I've got my reputation. Some of these older business gentlemen who I get to know, oh, we don't need that. I'm like, you have no idea what's coming, man. You are going to be taken out. And some of the guys that are my age and a little bit younger, they're like, man, I'm getting taken out by these young guys. Come flying in, put up a beautiful website, put all kinds of stuff all over the internet, put all stuff all over the Google, paid SEO, all the organic, whatever, you name it. I can tell you about all that stuff. Technology has really changed the world. Tell me a little bit about, there's got to be technology that has impacted your specific expertise, and you mentioned you have a laser. Tell me about what the laser is.
Yeah, so I have a multi-radiance medical low-level laser, and laser is an amazing tool. So you can use it for pain, you can use it for inflammation, swelling, to regain range of motion. I mean, so multifaceted. I have a patient right now who has extreme fibromyalgia. She had to drop out of high school because her pain was so bad.
Oh, wow.
And we are actually helping to mitigate her pain just through the use of the laser. So it's so cool, just allowing your body to photobiomodulate with the laser.
So there you go. Technology is obviously something that has impacted our world since the beginning of time. Did you know the hammer and the wheel were technically technologies? And so we've evolved since then. Now we understand this whole thing with electricity, and then we can send electrical 10110 and binary code. And now we've got computers that are doing AI. If y'all don't understand what's going on with AI, give me a call. I'll explain it to you. It's frightening in some ways, but it's really exciting in most ways. But you better get a handle on it. And some of the software that we've partnered up with some great companies can really share with you the AI. Because you can literally have an assistant that is virtual that literally you cannot tell the difference, and it never forgets because it's not a human. So it's a great way to help you systematize, but also keep it old school and get to where you can explain to people things in a format like this. So we appreciate Amanda coming on. All right, finish up here with the process. People, I got to get two things we can talk about. A big challenge you've had. You've talked about the process a little bit, but those two things I'd like to cover. We have about a minute left.
Okay. Yeah, so we kind of talked about the process, so I'll talk a little bit about the challenge of being a woman in chiropractic because it is a male-dominated field. And I actually was the only woman left in my chiropractic class that graduated with my class.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we had some people drop back into our class, but I was the only one with my original class. So it is a male-dominated field, and we still have a lot of bias that women can't support, like can't have the same adjustments as a male and the power and everything, but that's just not true. Women are great chiropractors.
I would say if I have a choice of having a male touching my back and doing all whatever, I'd rather have a pretty young lady to make sure that this is just, I'm not trying to make it weird, but I'm just saying if I have a choice.
We are very nurturing.
Yeah, as I say, it's just they're more sensitive. Hey, everybody, get an expert. She'll take care of you. She's a professional. Hopefully you're enjoying our show. Giddy up.